All right, so we've got this question here. This worker, the normal rate for the worker is 150 kwacha per hour. All right, the worker is supposed to work for 50 hours. All right, now the worker also worked for an extra 5 hours. So in total, this worker worked for 55 hours. 50 hours, which is expected of him, and 5 hours extra, which is the overtime hours. Then we've been told overtime, the overtime rate, it's time and a half for the first 2 hours of overtime. And after the first 2 hours of overtime, the next hours above, the overtime rate is going to change to time and a third. All right, time and a third. So we have to calculate the gross pay. Okay, what is the gross pay? All right, so we're going to use this method here. Okay, where we get, because we're going to get the basic pay, which includes the total hours worked, the normal hours, and the overtime hours, and multiplied by the normal rate. So he worked for a total of 55 hours at a rate of 150. Colleagues, 55 times 150, what do we get? 8,250. All right, now we have to get the overtime premium. Okay, so it's the overtime hours times the overtime rate. Okay, this half just represents the overtime rate basically. Okay, times the normal rate. So for the first 2 hours of overtime, we're going to say 2 times the overtime rate, which is half, times the normal rate, 150. Okay, so 2 times half, that is 1. 1 times 150, that is 150. So that's the overtime premium for the first 2 hours. Then the next 3 hours, because remember, he worked a total of 5 overtime hours. Okay, so 5 minus 2, 3. So the remaining 3 hours, it's time and a third. So here, instead of using half, we're using 1 over 3 times 150. All right. So 3 times 1 over 3, that is 1. 1 times 150, that is 150. Okay. So his gross pay, 150 plus 150, that's 300. 300 plus 8,250, that gives us 8,550. That is the gross pay. 8,550. Any questions?